First, let me welcome all of you to this press conference. This is a follow-up to the President's address, and MOM's addendum will be released. I think it's being released today, embargo for tomorrow, I think. So this is this press conference to provide some background and elaborate on the addendum that MOM has put out, and to also discuss what our priorities will be going forward for the next 2 to 3 years. And also take this opportunity to introduce our new Minister of State, Mr. Lee Shan, and the portfolio that he will be covering. I think before we have a question and answer, I will give a broad overview of the priority areas, our key concerns of MOM going forward. I summarized our key focus areas into 3 themes. Firstly, to develop a globally competitive workforce. The second theme is to focus on enhancing income security and as well as lifelong employability of our workers. The last area of concern is to build a globally leading workplaces. And under each theme, we have 2 priority areas. The first one, under the developing globally competitive workforce, we will be addressing the key issues regarding this downturn, how we can help companies survive, save jobs, as well as help our workers become more employable. Second area under this theme is to build capability for the medium and long term, as well as to raise our overall workforce productivity. Under the second theme, income security and lifelong employability, we will be looking at the introduction of re-employment legislation. We announced this earlier, and we are going ahead with it. The second area is the implementation of CPF Life, as well as a WIS, Workfare Income Supplement Scheme. Under the third theme of workplaces, we will be covering improving safety and health outcome, which is a key target that we have set ourselves, as well as promoting good employment practices. I'll go into each of these areas in greater detail. Firstly, on addressing the downturn, I think we are in an unprecedented economic downturn. The challenges are great. We have rolled out quite a number of programs. Some of these programs you are quite familiar with. These include Jobs Credit, SPUR program. We will pay particular attention to the PMETs under our SPUR program, because during this recession, we observed that more PMETs are affected compared to the previous recession, partly because our overall quality of our workforce have improved. We are seeing more Singaporeans working in PMET jobs, and therefore there are more Singaporean PMETs are likely to be affected compared to the previous recession. Of course, overall, I think in terms of absolute numbers, rank and file workers will still constitute the majority of workers being affected during the downturn. We have recently announced the tripartite guidelines on management of excess manpower a few days ago. This will give flexibility to companies to manage the downturn, to manage their manpower costs, so that they can remain viable, competitive, as well as to save jobs. I think from the employee's point of view, the most important objective of these guidelines is to ensure that jobs can be saved. And it is therefore important for us to bear in mind that this guidelines has to strike a balance between helping companies to survive, at the same time ensuring that employees are treated fairly and their interests are also safeguarded. The next one is on NWC guidelines. These NWC guidelines will be released shortly. They are at the moment discussing the guidelines. Our tripartite partners and NWC council members are discussing the various issues in the guidelines, and they will be released at the end of the month or early next month. So in summary, in tackling the downturn, our key strategy from Manpower's point of view is to help companies cut costs, save jobs, to help workers stay on their jobs through upgrading their skills and productivity and their employability, and to help those that are affected, those who are unemployed, to reskill themselves to find jobs. So these are the 3 main strategies that MOM is adopting in tackling this downturn. Many of our programs have worked well. If we take a look at the overall unemployment numbers that we released earlier in Q1, in Singapore, our unemployment rate is 3.2 overall. Compared to many other countries, we are still among one of the lowest, despite the fact that we have suffered an 11.5% decline in GDP growth year on year. So relative to our neighboring countries as well as developed countries, we are doing quite well as far as unemployment rate is concerned. But we must not be complacent. We need to continue to press on with our various programs. And we will continue to monitor the development and refine our programs as we go along. As you have seen over the last few months, we have refined SPUR programs in response to changing landscape in our economy and our employment market. Next, I want to touch on building capability and raising productivity. We have embarked on a CET master plan early last year, and as a result, we have been able to develop more than 40 CET centers within a one-year period, from 19 centers before. Now we have more than 40, of which 3 have been appointed as national CET institutes. This will provide the infrastructure and the facilities for us to push ahead with upgrading, training, and reskilling. In terms of SPUR program, which was introduced December last year, up to today, end of April actually, we have 94,000 workers already committed to SPUR program, including 1,400 companies. So the progress has been quite good, and we will continue to refine and expand our capacity so that we can take in more workers and more companies. We have also set up a multi-agency task force to drive sectoral efforts to improve productivity. I think when the economy was doing very well, companies, businesses, management were focusing on ensuring their businesses run well. We now have to take advantage of this slowdown to encourage companies to focus a lot more on enhancing productivity. This is important for us if we want to sustain our economic growth and if we want to sustain wage improvements. We have to ensure that our productivity will continue to grow. So this is an area that MOM will be focusing on together with other agencies, including MTI and so on. So this is an important priority area, and MOS Lee Yishan will speak on this area a little bit more later on. Next, I want to talk a little bit about our challenges going forward. One area that we need to recognize is that when the economy recovers, we will continue to face manpower challenges. We'll continue to be in need of quality manpower. So it is important for us to realize the constraint we will face in labor force supply, and therefore it is important for us to continue to upgrade the quality of our workforce given the constraint. We do so for our local workforce through SPUR, through our CET programs, through training and upgrading, so that we can improve their quality, their skills, and their productivity. But for foreign workers, we want to also continuously improve their quality by raising the criteria for skilled workers coming into Singapore. And this we will be doing from time to time. And I announced earlier in Parliament that we will be fine-tuning some of the criteria for S-Pass holders as well as skilled work pass holders. So this exercise will continue. It is part of our strategy to upgrade the quality of our overall workforce, both local as well as foreign. It is also important for us to strike a balance, to calibrate the balance between our local workforce and our foreign workforce. As we go forward, with the increasing number of foreign workers in our midst, it is important to ensure that the stresses between the foreign workers and local workers are managed, and we want to develop a more inclusive society so that we will be able to work alongside between our local workers and foreign workers. We can work alongside one another. We will be able to accept them in our midst so that they can contribute to our economy and our development. So it is important for us to look at these issues, challenges as we go forward. Some of these measures that we are going to put in place will not just be for the downturn. SPUR, for example, although SPUR program is a program targeted for the downturn, we hope that at the end of the downturn, when the economy recovers, some of the things that we put in place, the training and upgrading facilities, for example, the attitude towards lifelong learning, the culture of upgrading and training and learning will continue even after the recession. I think if we are able to do that, I think we will truly become a learning nation, and this will help us in our competitiveness and in meeting the challenges going ahead. So some of these measures, although we have introduced them this time during the downturn, we hope that the culture that we develop will survive beyond the recession. And the next issue I want to talk about is longer-term issues, some of the fundamental challenges that we're facing in terms of income security and lifelong employability. One particular issue is the re-employment. We announced earlier that the legislation will be introduced in 2012. I think we will continue to hold to this target. During the downturn, it is more challenging to encourage companies to adopt re-employment. But it is important for us to continue to send a message to them, to the employers and workers, that when the economy recovers, we will again face labor force constraint. And it is better for us now to prepare ourselves so that we are able to tap on the older workers, and for that matter, women workforce as well. So I think it is important for these efforts to continue, even during the recession, so that we are better prepared. When the economy recovers, our employers and our employees are already able to tap on these resources that are not yet tapped today. So we will continue with our efforts to encourage companies and employees to embrace re-employment, and we have introduced Advantage scheme earlier to encourage early adoption of re-employment, and we'll continue to do so. We have also released the tripartite advisory to help employers and employees prepare for the introduction of re-employment. Next, I want to talk about CPF Life and WIS. CPF Life, the details were announced during the budget debate earlier this year. We are streamlining the CPF Life into 4 key plans. And this CPF Life opt-in scheme will be available from September this year. So we will send out notices and we will put out more information nearer the date so that those who are interested, those who are not required for mandatory participation, meaning those who are born before 1955, the older generation, who are interested in this scheme will be able to opt in to CPF Life from September onwards. Next, WIS. Workfare Income Supplement is a important instrument through which we help the low-wage workers, especially the older workers. This WIS, the details I think we have explained earlier, will focus on helping the lower-wage workers as well as older workers. This will also help them prepare for their retirement, because some of the WIS will be paid into their CPF. And we will review, as we said, we will review the WIS next year, 2010. This year, during the downturn, we have introduced a special payment, particularly to help those in the lower income group who have been affected by the downturn. Some of them may have their salary reduced, some of them may have less OT, less income. So this WIS special payment will help this lower income family cope with this downturn. In the longer term, we are looking at workplace safety and health matters. We have set ourselves a very stretched target. We have made quite significant improvement over the last few years, from 4.9 fatalities per 100,000 in 2004 to 2.8 last year. We have set ourselves a target of 1.8 fatalities per 100,000 by the year 2018. This is being spearheaded by Workplace Safety and Health Council, and we will provide the necessary support, and we will work hand in hand with the Council to achieve this target. My Senior Parliamentary Secretary will discuss this further later on when he gives his remarks. We have to go beyond just systems and concepts. To achieve our target, we will have to develop a culture of safety among our corporations, among our businesses, as well as among our workers. And we need to start young so that they will be able to grow up with this culture of safety and health in their mind when they go to work. Lastly, I want to talk about promoting good employment practices. This is another key area. We have established very strong labor relations with our tripartite partners. And this has been developed over the last 40, 50 years. And this did not come about by chance, and it is a deliberate efforts to cultivate, to nurture, and to build this relationship. We will continue to have to do so. We have a very unique way of dealing with tripartite partners with labor relations, which many other countries are unable to do so. So we are able to sit down sensibly, discuss openly, and come to some practical consensus on practical solutions to deal with challenges and problems facing us. So I think this is an important area that all of us will have to continue to cultivate and develop at different levels. The next area is human capital management practices. This is an area that we think it is important for us going forward in order for us to attract talent, retain talent, as well as to develop talent, both local talent and foreign talent. It is an area that we think we need to continue to improve, and we will be having our Human Capital Summit later this year, and one of the areas that we will be discussing will be good practices in human capital management. MOS Lee Shan will also elaborate a bit more on the human capital side. Of course, lastly, work-life harmony. SPS is looking after that area. We will be looking at how we can ensure a better working environment to help our workers to be more productive and to also have a balanced family life. So I think this is an important area of work that we will continue. So overall, I think this outlines our priority over the next 2 to 3 years in the Ministry of Manpower. Minister of State Lee Shan has joined us beginning 1st April. So it's just barely over a month. He has been involved in all areas of the ministry's work. But in particular, I've asked him to focus on a few key issues, mainly under the theme of developing this competitive workforce. Isha will be looking at the CET issues, continuing education and training, focusing particularly on the PMETs, how we can reach out to more of the professional technicians, managers, executives, help them continue to upgrade, enhance their employability. Isha will also be looking after productivity issues. Given his background with MTI, I think this will be a very useful area for him to focus on, how we can raise the productivity of our enterprises, raise the productivity of our workers together. He will also be taking on the human capital management issues as part of the productivity and talent development efforts. Senior Parliamentary Secretary will focus on generally the well-being of our workers, including workplace safety and health, how to help and reach out and help the low-wage workers, work-life balance, as well as overall well-being of foreign workers in Singapore. So I think these will be the areas that SPS will be focusing on. I think I will stop here before we open for question and answers. I'll ask MOS to say a few words, and then maybe SPS can also make some remarks on his areas of responsibility.